art monkey for the club. I majored in English, so I have way more unemployment than Daniel does, and I drew these things. No. Oh, yeah, this is Twiggle Barn. I'm sorry. Yeah. Just kidnap the microphone, Daniel. Come on.
Just kidnap the microphone. So we're going to talk about how to form a club. So first thing you have to do is actually find people who are also bronies.
I want to say this is really difficult, way more than it should be. For like a year and a half, I wore nothing but my derpy backpack everywhere. I had like nothing but brony shirts, and not a single person stopped me and was like, oh.
Yeah, but I found you.
That was the second. But I eventually did find students. It took forever. It took driving off campus to a high school for some tutoring stuff, and Eurobeat Discord was playing in my car, and someone's like, I know this song, and I was like, I can change it. He was like, I didn't say I didn't like it, and it took way longer than it should have, but they are a lot of places, so I imagine.
Alternatively, you can use the Daniel method of, hey, Paige, you run a club. Why don't you help us form another club? Do you like ponies? Yeah, I guess I sort of like ponies. Well, you like ponies now. Welcome. And now I really do like ponies, so that's a method too.
Brainwashing is a good method of making friends. Remember that.
Actually, if you play this entire presentation backwards, it's
the presentation backwards.
Yeah, pretty much. The presentation backwards, and even worse if you play it forwards, it's the presentation, so.
Okay, now you've got enough people to, fill a president slot, a treasurer slot, secretary. You don't really need a vice president, but they're good to have, especially when they can draw. You really want a president, he kind of leads the group. Secretary takes emails out for you and sends them out. And also treasurer, make sure you guys have money and you don't go into debt. Debt is a bad thing when you're a college student. So more is bad.
So essentially, you get the person who's the best at telling other people what to do, make them president. Get the person who's the best at penny pinching, make them treasurer. And then get the person who does nothing but social media and make them the secretary.
Yes. So after you got that stuff, most colleges require you to have an advisor. An advisor is basically a professor or faculty member. Their job is to ensure that you guys don't do anything stupid, and also to just check up on you once in a while. Our professor is Professor Kakoa Kalani. He is from Hawaii, and he's also a fourth Scottish.
He's something weird.
He's like Scottish, Japanese, Hawaiian guy. So, and he's basically, we went in and we're like, okay, we like you, Kalani, and we want you to be our advisor. And so let me just explain to you why we like My Little Pony. He's like, oh, I already like that thing anyway. And I'm like, oh, well, would you be our advisor? He's like, nah, why not?
Advisors are very nice. I've worked with Kakoa, and then I've worked with our other advisors. They work hard to help you, so they are very nice to have, and they take responsibility for you. So.
Anything else to say about Kalani?
I mean, I like him.
Okay. John likes Kalani, and so does everybody else. He also is awesome and is having a zombie class. So if you're going to Muskingum, take the zombie class. I know, whatever. So after you get your advisor and you get everything set up, now it's time to start talking to your res life. People basically in charge of doing cool stuff on weekends. Ours happens to be a nice lady by the name of Jean Tamburo. So we had to make a meeting with her. And this meeting basically goes over what you can do, what you can't do. We can't actually say that we are official auxiliation of Muskingum, but whatever. We're also not allowed to show the episodes in club unless we get the rights, but that's a whole different slide. So you make your case. Oh, yes?
Just a question. It says, or you said to find an advisor and then find the university staff member responsible.
Okay, he wants to know what's the difference between an advisor and a university staff member. Oh. Is it? Okay. The advisor is usually a faculty member, such as a professor, that will help communicate with this school for you. The university staff member who is responsible for clubs is usually a completely different position. They usually do not hold a teacher's position. In our case, we have Gina, who is in charge of like all of our organizations on campus and events that we hold, and they usually know all the fine details of what to do. Your advisor will just be the specific person that works with your club and helps you out there.
Did that answer your question?
Yes.
All right.
And then basically you make your case to whoever is in charge of this procedure. And then if you're successful, you have a club. And if anybody tells you you're not out of the Brony Club, tell them that you're special events, you're doing cool stuff, and they love you.
Let's see. Usually, also be aware, we didn't put our specific because it probably varies. Probably whenever you talk to the university staff member in charge of your student life, they will probably tell you the requirements you need to be a club. So, like, for instance, we have to have a constitution, we have to be registered and everything. So, this is just kind of a general checklist. That's a good place to start, and then you will probably get more specific things out of your school. Cool. Yeah. Why don't you two share that one?
So, now that you have a club, how do you promote said club? Being a small campus is a lot easier for us to promote since we have less we have to cover. But the good place to start is to start a Facebook page. This can be private, or I prefer closed groups. Basically, this allows for you to, people you know you can add in, and we can stay away from all the haters that just randomly join Facebook pages. Also, talk to your school paper or TV station. You're bound to know somebody who's working in media at your school. We actually got a newspaper article done for us, which was really helpful. Some people have looked into us that way. We've also been on the radio mentioned before.
Extra credit for the website.
Also, if you are devious and clever, you can actually get events have extra credit from professors. For instance, we actually showed the Brony documentary at our school, and so I convinced my sociology professor to give us bonus credit for watching it because it's deviant.
Basically, it kind of worked out that he talked to a sociology professor and just like, you can send your students here and maybe we'll get extra credit, and that actually worked out and helped get like more people to learn about us. Plus, since we showed the documentary, it was a good way to help other people learn about exactly what a brony is.
And also, if you're interested in watching a documentary, you do have to have licensing rights. But when we talked to him, the director was so cool with us. It's like, oh yeah, of course we want you to watch our documentary. Here, watch for free. Just make sure you buy a copy of it and don't pirate it.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah. Also, you need styling posters or business cards.
In other words, you go, hey Paige, draw me some ponies.
John, would you like to describe the business cards?
Okay. Actually, we can't take credit for all of the art on the cards, as we did not draw the back, but you did talk to the artist for the back of the cards, and she gave us permission to use her art for the back of the cards, which is all the browser ponies around a campfire. But the front of the card displays the name of our group, Muskie Bronies, and I actually can't read. Is that the link to our...
Yeah.
Okay.
Since you can't see them up there, we have them in person. You should take one. They're cool.
We have on the card as well is a link to our website. Our school uses a website called OrgSync for students to. It's like if Facebook didn't exist, this is how you would all connect and figure out what groups you're going to. It's a link to the Muskie Brony page on OrgSync, and then we also have a QR code that we generated that will also take you to that page that we printed on the front. And then the two ponies there are the two mascots for our school. Which
We have a whole slide about them too.
And that's pretty much it.
You want to talk about activity fair?
Oh, you should explain chalking the sidewalk. At our school, we have a thing where we have an entire quad that we can actually go and if we get permission and make sure it's on a right day, you can actually like chalk the sidewalk. You can draw things, let them know about events. I've done it before. It's interesting. It takes some time, especially depending on how big your sidewalks are, but it's a cool way because everybody has to use the sidewalks at some point or another. So.
Not a good idea when you know it's going to rain, though.
No rain.
No rain.
Our school generally has a rule that you have to ask to make sure it isn't a board weekend or anything. But usually, that's the question that you would ask the person that's in your what is her title? I keep forgetting.
Who?
Gina's.
Gina's student life coordinator.
Yes, student life coordinator will usually tell you if you're allowed to do that sort of thing.
Also, and this is a big one that every college has, is an activity fair. And so activity fairs, you'll sign up for this in advance, but you'll get a table, and I suggest getting swag and giving it away. Swag.
All the swag at the dance party.
All the swag at the dance party. But yeah, so to have that, and it's also a great place to give away your business cards. If someone else isn't interested, they might hand it off to someone else who is interested in the club. And also, this is a great place where you can connections with other clubs on campus, because you might want to do other cool events, like let's say you want to go bowling, to go with the bowling team and have some fun and wear pony shirts. Now that you have a club, what should you do?
All right, here, I'll talk about episodes and viewing rights, since I know about this stuff. Watching episodes is something you can do. This is also something you should definitely talk to your student life coordinator about. Different schools have different rules, especially in coordination with public viewing rights. Public viewing rights are a wonderful copyright thing that works with companies on whether or not they let people show their shows to other, air them. This is something that's also important for anime clubs, but in the case of ponies,
Paige, 1 sec.
Go for it.
Do we have a question back there?
Oh, do we?
Or
I'm sorry. Or we can hold questions till the end,
Okay,
unless they're relevant.
that's fine.
Because we do have a wonderful Ask Questions slide. In ponies, this is, for us, our school is actually very concerned about copyright things, thus we cannot watch them officially during club meetings. Your school might be different. Those are questions for your student life organizer. However, if your school does have restrictions on you watching them, this is something you can do unofficial meetups for. Go for it, Daniel.
Also, yeah, the official meetups are really cool. We actually watched the episode Saturday. Copyright law does not actually work in dorms, it turns out, when you're not having official club meetings.
There are all sorts of wonderful things that your school will probably have somebody that can talk to, because we have an entire little lawyer that helps us manage these things.
Yeah, and also, fan-made animation is usually good and
Creative Commons.
and created commentaries. So if you have someone making fun of an episode, you can watch that. That's fine under copyright law.
Plus, there are just a ton of really cool pony music videos and just animations, and we have a very creative community. There's a ton of cool stuff on YouTube that you can watch if you can't watch the episodes, and then just get together at some point, just watch the episodes together, just unofficially, and not in the meeting.
You can talk about the drawing class.
Oh, okay. I guess I do both of these things. You can also do like little fan fiction or drawing classes. Basically, anything you can hold at a convention, you could technically do in your club with just a smaller amount. So, like, we did an event, a meeting where we just sat down, and John and I are both pretty artsy, so we taught everyone how to draw ponies as well as we can. So you can do stuff like, do you want him to go in, or what are you trying to imply, Daniel? So you can do things where you talk about fan fiction, how to write it, or for ponies, or how to draw things, or just there are plenty of things you can do with that, and that can take a couple of meetings. So go, John.
Also, we don't have our Pony Finder expert here today.
You don't.
Sadly. But you can also play role-playing games. A lot of fun, nerdy stuff can go on in role-playing games, which involves you just doing awesome stuff.
There are plenty of pony roleplay systems that you can incorporate.
You can also call yourself lawful good and then just start throwing ponies out of moving carts.
Daniel's not lawful good anymore.
In my defense, the guy was annoying.
That people being annoying is not a reason to abandon lawful.
So charity work.
Now, charity work is awful good.
Charity work is lawful good, and we have done quite a bit of charity work. We have a tip jar for our 2 events that we had about food this year. We actually gave away free ice cream floats, courtesy of the school's money, and also we gave away free caramel apples, courtesy of the school's money. And basically, we're allowed to ask for tips. And so what do you do with these tips? You buy toys and give it to children for Christmas and for Toys for Tots, or do anything else cool you can do. Other charities you can do is, ironically, find a charity about saving horses. And that also leads us to hold events, which means either A, do something, or B, give away free food, and everybody loves free food, especially in college.
Free food is generally a good thing to have at any event you do anyway, because even if people don't care about the event, they'll come for free food, and then you can sucker them into hanging out at your event.
All you have to do is just put pizza will be provided, and you will run out of pizza.
Also Smash Brothers.
What about Smash Brothers?
Also Smash Brothers.
People like Super Smash Brothers too, so if you happen to bring Melee or something, people...
Figure out what people like on your campus and give it to them for free, and then go, hey, ponies. Okay, I ended up designing the mascots last summer. So here we have Misty Mirage and Coral Gill. So mascots are really cool. They make good subjects for poster art that you do for business cards. And they're a lot of fun, especially the more you get involved with them. I'm going to tell you a bunch of things I didn't do when I designed them because I just kind of drew them. And so, but things you can consider if you don't know where to start, or using your school's colors, such as the magenta. I guess I involved that. And then, our school's mascot is a musky fish, so you can see that as Coral Gill's cutie mark. So, and the M is also because Muskingham.
Muskies are nasty fish. They're like piranhas, but bigger.
They're so cool, though. And then you can either talk about them as a group club of like what you want your mascots to be like. You can base your okay, this is an idea I really like that we didn't do, but if you don't have an idea for a cutie mark, you can make them a blank flank to start out with, and then if your club does something really cool, you can make that their cutie mark. That's an option. And really just have fun whenever you make them. They're going to be interesting. You'll probably make up lore about them. You'll give them stories. You'll ship your OC with them.
Damn.
Cloverleaf times Misty Mirage equals Misty Bar.
Things like this happen.
Because it's amazing.
So, you can do all sorts of things with them. They're just as open as making any other OC, other than you're going to share them with the group, so.
You got it. As far as cool event ideas go, one thing that took forever, frankly, this year, because it was so cold so late in the year, but eventually did happen the last week of classes, we held a winter wrap-up event where as soon as we got permission from the physical plant to go purchase flowers, what the school paid for.
School paid for flowers.
The school paid for the flowers, and then we just went and we found a patch of mulch that didn't have anything, and it was like trash and weeds and stuff, so we just picked up all the trash, picked all the weeds out, and then we just planted a bunch of flowers, and now it looks a lot nicer. And that was our way of wrapping up winter. So just something nice you can do.
It's pretty simple. Think of something to do to clean up, or find an area on campus you're not happy with, and see if your school let you do something with it. Also questions for your academic activity advisor.
Just to let you guys know, because I kind of showed them up, all of you guys are college students, physical plant is you have your janitors, your maintenance guys, everybody all in one, and so to do anything on the ground, you have to get permission to do that. Caramel Apple Day was a idea that took a little time to think of. So we wanted to show our campus that we liked them and that they were cool. So we decided to make caramel apples. We thought this process would take about an hour or two.
We were wrong.
It took 5. I was in charge of stirring the caramel. My arms will never forgive me. Ever.
So, yeah, usually you can find, what we end up doing is our school lets us, get tables from campus, and we just set up a table in our quad, and as people went by, we gave them free caramel apples.
Some advice if you want to do this activity at your school. One, we did this, so we didn't kill anybody. But keep your nuts separated from the candy, because some people are allergic.
This is very relevant because one of our members is allergic to nuts.
And he didn't die, so it wasn't bad. Also, I recommend adding water to caramel instead of just pouring pure caramel and putting in caramel apples, because it will make them hard. They're still good, but you have to lick them instead of bite them.
That was another reason it was so hard to stir them. We didn't add water.
And now we have our wiser. Yes, no, maybe so. Okay.
You have all been inducted into the Brotherhood and Sisterhood of the Scottish Wonderbolt Alicorn. This is the abomination that came to be when we were showing everyone how to draw ponies.
Basically what happened is that we were like showing them how to draw wings, how to draw horns, how to draw skirts, how to draw mustache. We were showing them how to draw everything, and this is the result.
And so now he's like the unofficial mascot?
He's another mascot. I count him.
Yeah.
He's on our like membership certificate.
And his cutie mark is haggis.
Yeah, it's haggis. You just can't see it.
Face wearing a kilt.
So, yeah, this is like an example of things that can come out of you just doing random junk with your club. So he's kind of like a running joke for us, and we are very proud of him. So, like, just so you know, you don't have to do anything big as long as you have like fun stuff like this too. You should have a blast. At least I think.
Now for
Daniel's turn.
Now for the most exciting part of this, how to do treasury work. Yes, I'm the treasurer of 4 or 5 clubs, and I'm also on Student Senate at my school, which basically we are the programming funding committee, so I get us money. Money is fun.
Yay.
Notice he said he's the treasurer of like 5 clubs?
4 or 5, whatever.
I'm not convinced that he's not trying to hoard it all to make a giant statue of himself in the quad.
We are very certain that he is embezzling.
I'm also announcing my candidacy for executive treasurer of all Student Senate money next year.
But
That's a position.
other fun fact, he is literally the only person that ran for treasurer, and thus he proceeded to run for treasurer as 4 different personalities as himself.
Oh, yeah, running joke, I think. They asked me to be a gangsta, myself, my OC, and like a Casanova? Yeah, Casanova.
When did we vote in?
I think we voted in all 4 of them. I think they tied.
No, Clover Bar won.
Oh, Clover won. Oh, yeah, so I have to act with my OC when I'm doing treasure work. Whatever. So back to actually talking about money. Usually when you want to do something fun, schools like you to do fun stuff. So if you submit a petition or a application to your student senate or student government association, they might have some funding for you. So let's say you want to go to a convention, let's say TrotCon.
Oh, hey.
Well, oh, hey.
Wait, how did we get here? I didn't spend any money to get here.
You didn't spend any money to get here? Neither did I. Our school actually paid for our whole trip here,
Well, our
except for
badges.
the room.
They pay for our badges.
They pay for our badges. Basically, our school has a travel fund set up, which allows activities for sororities, fraternities, and other clubs go up. So basically, they can't be judgmental when Brony clubs say, hey, we want to take an educational trip to TrotCon. As long as you sell it as you're learning how to do fan fiction, you're learning how to edit videos, and learning how to meet other people, just
I sold it.
educational.
I rock that.
You kind of did. But let's say you want to do other stuff like, I don't know, have a pizza party that your school won't fund. Why don't you do some bake sales? Or if you find a person that's artsy, you take them, you put them in your basement, you tell them to draw, and you sell commissions.
After moving out of my dormitory, I am now living in Daniel's basement, so you can see how that ended.
It has a toilet and a shower. Yeah, it has ponies in it too, so.
Lock at least. I do have my thing.
But yeah, treasury work's very important for a good life of club. Also, if you don't have money, you can always just beg on the streets.
Definitely, this is also something our school has like meetings for officers to tell them like this is what you need to remember how to run a club and how to be a treasurer. So there will be resources that will help you figure out the best way to actively get how you are supposed to request money. And friendship is magic, so go make a friends with a bunch of treasurers and figure out how to make money.
Yes. Also, I left this out. Our club, our university doesn't let us do this as a university club, but some schools allow you to actually have dues. Like, let's say you say $10 and you have 50 members. That's $500. So that's a good chunk of change to do fun stuff. So, any questions, anybody? Already, any? Okay.
I actually have a question. Because you're a graduate, yet you still are active in the club.
All right.
Handle that.
I actually just graduated. So, like, May, I graduated. So I was an active part of the club. Basically, I do live in a rather reasonable distance of our university. So there's a lot of online communication I can do, too, to help. They're a small club, and I understand the the challenges of a small club, because I also was in charge of our anime club. So I'm just trying to, give them extra, help and resources, with helping with art when I can, because college kids are busy, especially since John is a bio major and has no time on his hands whenever. So I'm actually just trying to help in whatever way I can, so I'm kind of just a alumni art monkey.
So you kind of just do things behind the scenes then?
Yeah, pretty much. I think what I'm going to mostly be doing is helping them with art if they need art. So, and I guess, what else do you want me to do?
Technically she's our alumni relations, which is a position I totally made up.
You can also totally make up positions for your club. It works.
So basically, if Bernie Club at our school stays alive for long enough, we'll have alumni, and then we can ask them for money.
Oh, that's what you want me for? You want me for money?
She's also a very good author, and I think she's going to make millions, so I want a cut. All right, men in the plaid.
All right, so how many rules are good, and yeah.
His question was, how many rules are good?
Yeah.
Would you care to elaborate?
Lots of rules pile on the rules.
Let's talk about this from a constitution angle.
Okay, so when you're setting up your constitution, you kind of want to cover the base ground with, I think the most general rule is kind of the, can I say it?
Yeah, keep talking. Wait, what? What's that? It's a teen rating panel. You can say that.
Okay. We essentially, the don't be a douchebag rule. Just don't do something that you don't want someone to do to you. Just be nice to other people, essentially. There's like a, try to avoid drama. If you have issue with someone else, go talk to an officer or something like that.
A useful position that you can do is warden, which is basically somebody that it is their job to enforce the rules. You don't have to do this position, and usually if you have a good club, you don't need it, but the warden is kind of a position you don't want to have to use, but it's helpful to have in case things do happen.
And as your club, we haven't really needed one, but our club is also, we're a small group on campus. The bigger the school is, the more students you have. I know of other college campuses that are not musky, but have brony groups that are larger, and therefore there are more variables, if you will.
Usually, we have, if you want to show it.
Oh, well, I guess it was.
That's up to you. We do, part of one of our requirements for our university when we build our clubs is to have a constitution. And so we have, how many pages is this thing? We have 4 pages, and a lot of the stuff on here is mostly what do your officers do, and how do you add new rules, and what happens whenever officers leave and such like that. I think a general good thing for rules is to start out with common sense. And then if there is a situation that arises later, as we've had to revise our constitution several times in Anime Club based off things, is that you have, this is your club, so if you find a situation that you do not have a rule for, you should have a way built in to discuss it. So it's kind of build the necessary rules is my rule of thumb. Your thought?
Those off?
comments on.
Oh, that's good.
Just make sure you have a rule to add rules, and then
Very important.
okay.
And then your advisor can help you too. Like every time we change our constitution, our activities leader has to, like Gina has to approve it for us.
So
And Khalil Kalani too. So usually these people, especially somebody who is in charge of like managing a bunch of clubs, will tell you like good places to start if you don't know where to start.
So, in summary, do what you think is best. Make sure you have a rule that lets you add rules, and then just add them as you see fit.
Also, our school, and I'm pretty sure almost every school requires this, so you don't ever get sued, is that you have to say that you have to let anybody in, regardless of gender, sex, military status,
Like I said,
sexual
common
orientation.
sense.
So, be all inclusive. Be a brony. I don't think I need to say that.
There you go. There's your rule.
I saw a hand back there.
Yeah, you guys, actually, it sounds like you probably already covered this, but I came in late.
That's fine.
I had an issue when I tried to form a club a couple of years ago with convincing an academic advisor to sponsor our club to allow us to form it. Because it's part of our school rules that you have to have a faculty member act as your advisor to be able to form a club. Right.
Okay, so how to make a faculty member want to be your academic advisor is the question. We have to do that too.
So, just out of curiosity and to get a little more information background, how did you go about that?
Did not succeed.
Well, I meant like
what was your
process?
approach?
Well, we couldn't really figure out actually the common purpose for our group. We knew it because it was for furries.
Oh, okay.
So we couldn't really figure out if we wanted to be centered on art or just a culture thing or whatnot. We couldn't figure out how to categorize ourselves. So it became extremely difficult to try to find out maybe someone who would be relevant or at least interested in art or subject matter for whatever reason.
Generally,
Talk to them.
for furries, and this can work for bronies as well, something that I know will really grab professors' attention, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you say that there's a lot of study in the culture and the way that, you focus around learning more about the group and how it, that particular, clique or just group of people, the way that sort of operates, it'll grab more attention when you put that sort of knowledge and learning perspective onto it, and talk to sociology and psychology professors. They eat that stuff up.
Also, just to go along with this, especially for bronies and furries, essentially you want to say, what is a brony? What is a furry? You want to start with that. You don't want to be like, oh, you want to join a furry club here, and then they go look it up, and then they see all sorts of stuff. Yeah. But not all furries are like that.
You don't want to leave that particular topic for your academic advisor to Google.
Also, a good way for your club to work, I've always found, is be as transparent as possible. Have the ability that if someone wants to look at your financial statements, have that available. Also, start doing some charity work, because bronies do charity work, furries do charity work. So if you do that, that gives you much better rap and makes the furry community look better too.
But in regards, usually it is a better idea to try and find an academic advisor that is somewhat interested in your topic. However, that is not necessarily a requirement. It may go easier, especially with something like furries, but as long as you present yourselves in the right way and you're very clear about what you're trying to do, like for, like I said, I ran an anime club, and part of our goals was appreciation of Japanese culture, and then like part of Pony Club is like spreading the ideals of the show. Like, it's true that we're fans of things, you just got to find the right additional things to add in that will also say this is also what we're trying to do. So the better idea you have about what your club wants to do, because it sounds like you weren't exactly sure what to center on, you might want to solidify that first before you go to an advisor, because if you're not sure, you're less likely to get anywhere.
I hope that answers your question.
Okay. Any other questions?
Don't be shy. We don't bite. Yeah.
What do you?
Well, I was going to make a comment earlier, but on an earlier question they asked about what happened when you would, leave school or college. And I don't know about most schools. I know that the university I go to, they're really big into keeping their alumni, as part of the institution. So
Yeah.
it is very common for graduating students to come back in and be part of clubs and stuff that they were in when they were.
Yeah, especially like another part that goes on to like how we were talking about the general rules that most universities make you do, like this is open to anybody regardless of such. At least on our campus, our activities have to be open to anyone that may want to come by. So like, I mean, alumni, that's another good way to get alumni involved too, is that they are also allowed to come and hang out.
And yes, Plaid Shirt, you had another question?
On the subject of transparency, on a scale of like 1 to 10, how bad is it to like have like secret rules and like signaling out like certain members for certain things?
What do you mean certain rules for?
I've just experienced this as an officer in one of the other organizations I'm in, not a Brony one. But
That's fine. I mean, there are. This world isn't perfect, so you're definitely going to run into problem members who, sometimes they just seem to get into trouble. The best thing you can do about that is, they will eventually become like, a parent who they are. You'll know, and I think this is what you're talking about, is something like this. Maybe if not, you can.
I'm just talking about like completely normal members.
Oh, I mean, well,
Like they did nothing wrong.
then.
So like officers singling someone out.
That sort of thing is usually not permitted on organizations, and that is probably something you should take to, I mean, like, it's definitely in our constitution that we can't do that. This is like
This is the rough draft.
this is the rough draft. But that is definitely something you should either take, especially if it's your officers doing it, you should definitely take that to your activities advisor. You, as a member of your club, probably have the best interest in making your club a wonderful experience, even if you're not an officer. And your advisors, either your club advisor or your overall student life advisor, probably wants that too. So if things are happening to students, you should definitely take that to someone. That's not ponies.
And also, don't be afraid to take that to them. I know there's a lot of students who get afraid that will give them a bad rap. No, that will give them a better rep with those people if you get those people out before it becomes a really bad problem. Yes.
I had to deal with this slightly in high school. How would you handle a situation where a member said we're at one of a club sponsored event and said something that the club does not support? Like, how would you handle that? Because we had a student when I was at one of my clubs say something during a talk with other students, and we had to come up with a solution. And tell this member that that's scoring of saying those kinds of things is not okay, but at the same time telling all the people she just blurted out in front of, that's not what we're here for. So
The problem with that blurring out is the damage has already kind of been done.
yeah. So how do you handle like
Damage control.
damage control?
The best way for damage control, at least in my experience, is that first you want to set that person aside, tell them that, hey, we're not doing this, and talk to them calmly about it. Don't be upset. Don't give some positive reinforcement with that. Say that this is something we don't do.
Yeah, and definitely that's another thing that wardens are good for. Usually they're either there to eliminate disputes, or often, I think another responsibility that wardens also often have is talking to members that may have done something that is against the club or may have damaged the club. So if you have a person that is prepared to do that for people, that's another good way to handle them. And then I guess for people in general, usually if this is like something going like against what you were there for your event, usually I would definitely say that being as clear as possible up front about what you are there for will help eliminate anything. And if like somebody that is in charge of things will say it is more likely to be. And then you can I guess you can talk to people as well, but.
As far as damage control, he kind of covered, what to do internally in the group to fix it. As far as outside, just kind of make a general statement like, we apologize, this is, clarify things, let people know, and that that's really the best you can do.
We ended up pulling her off of any speaking events for the day.
Right, and
Just contributed to her fundraising.
which is, that's a good
That's a good way
solution.
to
But the thing is we did have a script when we went in to do our stuff. She just ran off the tracks. So it was like, no, come back.
Yeah, do not be, like I said, it's better to have people that have good ways of communicating with people without, like, some people will not just take constructive criticism, no matter how hard you try. But having somebody that is willing to be calm with them and not, like, try to go, oh, you went and did that. Be, like, more calm, like, hey, we need you to understand this. So having a person that is willing to, has those sorts of skills are good to have around.
It's crucial when confronting someone that you talk to them calmly and on their level. You don't ever want to impose that you're talking down to them and that they're lesser than you, because then it'll just be a mess. They won't listen to you, and it'll just be a giant mess of people yelling back and forth. So
there's usually, you have to find people that are good at finding the balance between I'm trying to, because you have to find the right balance between trying to be nice and trying to be forceful, which
find educators, not instructors.
Yeah, and it's kind of like finding the balance between if you're trying to be polite to somebody and they ignore you, then like it's the Fluttershy episode where she's just like, please leave, and then they're just like, no, she has to put her foot down. So it's finding people who know how to read situations and find the right balance between that.
We just worked a pony episode well into our presentation.
Bronies.
We have take the wheel. Okay. We have time for about 3 more questions, then we have to finish up. So, any other questions?
Comments, concerns, how to make this better, things you want to know.
Also, we have free cards that will show you how to, at least on a design level, how to make your own business cards for clubs, which are really handy to keep around your wallet.
Tell them the website where you got those.
I got these from Vistaprint. The quality of paper we used was pretty high. It's because we wanted to look nice. 250 cards for $30. Not bad.
We still haven't run out.
No, this is a very small dent. I think I have about 20.
But there are plenty of resources online for promotional things like that you can find.
So, yeah. Any other comments, questions, statements about how awful we are at running a panel?
This is our first panel.
It's actually pretty good.
Oh, okay, yay.
Feel free to come and talk to us afterwards.
Oh yeah, and you're welcome to come catch us after the panel if you have any other questions that you didn't feel like blurting out during the panel. Any small things you might want to ask. Just look for the 3 of us wearing our pony shirts.
We also did bowling, which is a fun event that we got to, which also Daniel was really good at making our school pay for things for us. But they actually paid for our shirts too, so we all have cool little promotional bowling t-shirts with our mascots.
So yeah, I think one last time. There are no more questions? Anyone else? No? All right, I think that concludes our panel. Thank you everyone for attending, and I wish you the best of luck in founding your clubs.